Candis Melamed is the founder of Spotlight Agency and is at the helm of her full-service public relations powerhouse. Always on top of what's trending, Candis is viewed as a leader in health and beauty public relations, compelling one of America's top PR experts, Howard Bragman, to refer to her as the Mick Jagger of health and beauty and PR.
Candis excels at conceptualizing unique story ideas that attract extensive media exposure for her clients. Over the years, she's fostered notable media relationships, which have led to long-term PR successes for her clients and her firm.
If you are looking to grow your professional brand and make a splash on the media scene, you will want to make sure to take in everything that Candis has to say.
Hi everyone, I hope you're all enjoying the Aesthetic Next conference so far. My name is Candis Melamed and I'm the founder of Spotlight Group Agency, which is a full-service public relations and marketing firm that specializes in health and beauty and represents renowned key opinion leaders. I'm honored to say that we have secured billions of dollars worth of media exposure for our clients in national and international television, print, digital, and radio. I have to admit, I'm used to being behind the camera, but I'm honored to be here today to help provide you with a guide on how you can step into the spotlight. So what is PR? I hear people say all the time, I need PR, but do they really? Let's take a look at the difference between PR, marketing, and social media. Public relations, or PR, is not controlled, is not paid, and is highly credible. So when you're doing PR, you are reaching out to media, you are reaching out to editors and producers, you are giving them an idea of a story idea or introducing yourself as an expert, giving your topics, and hoping really that they like that idea and they want to continue with it and write a story about it and help promote you. But at the end, even when you're interviewed, you don't get to see what they've written before it's published, so that's not controlled. And it becomes highly credible for the audience when they're reading about it, because think of the difference if I come and tell you, I'm so great, I'm so wonderful, I've done this, I've done that, or when somebody else comes and tells you, Candis is really amazing, she's truly an expert, and she's done X, Y, and Z. Which one holds more credibility for you? Marketing, on the other hand, is extremely controlled. It's oftentimes paid for in the form of advertising, and it doesn't hold as much credibility as public relations does. So marketing is building collateral. It can be in the form of advertising. It can be in the form of distributing the information that you want, but you completely control what it is that you want to say. And then there's social media, which is a really unique hybrid between PR and marketing. Social media is controlled, it's typically not paid for, and it can hold a lot of credibility for your audience. So if you're not doing advertising, that's where you're not paying for social media, but you get to control the content of what you're posting on your social platforms. So that's where it's controlled. And if you do it properly, then it holds a lot of credibility with your followers and with people who check into your social media pages. When you're giving advice as an expert, when you're positioning yourself as a go-to source and expert, then you begin to develop credibility with your audience. So let's take a look at the PR audience. When you're looking at PR and you're doing PR, you really have two audiences. You've got your primary audience, which is editors or producers, it's the media, and your secondary audience, which is the consumers, the readers, the viewers, and then there's social PR, which is a relatively new space. So in the same way that, let's take Allure magazine, for example, has beauty editors, they've now hired on social editors. So these are the editors responsible for continuously putting out content on Allure's Instagram channel, on their Snapchat or their Facebook channel. And so there's a new opportunity here to also outreach to these editors and generate more exposure than you would with traditional media in television or magazines or online. Before you go down the road of PR, you need to know how to position yourself. And first things first, know your brand. Know what it is that makes you stand out from the rest. what it is that makes you unique, that you have to say and why people should listen. Develop your clear messaging on what that is so that you're not all over the place when you're talking to media. Write a short little bio on yourself that captures your accomplishments in a few sentences of a mini paragraph. And your social media presence. Get on it. There's a difference between your website and your social media presence, and here's why it's important. Once you start pitching media, they'll go to your website to find out what you do, your list of services, your injectables, treatments you perform. But they'll go to your social media platforms to find out who you are, your voice. What's your voice? What do you talk about? How is it personal? Your social media platform tells people a little more about you and helps to build that connection to you. And it's important to have this before you begin pitching media, because one of the first places they will look is your website and then your social media. Many of you might be familiar with Dr. Ava Shamban. She's a renowned celebrity cosmetic dermatologist, but when she started out, she was Harvard educated. She had participated in research studies with major brands and well-known injectables and lasers. She had to start with Extreme Makeover. She used that as a launching pad and began to expand her media presence, working with television producers and assuring them that she could deliver fast results, as in makeover results, for patients, whether we did them live on camera or whether they were treatments done and taped and then aired on the show. Bernice Cohen came to us as a highly respected trainer and aesthetic injector, but she didn't quite have a platform. So we helped brand her as the master injector. Developing her website was all about the services that she provides, but her social media was really her differentiator. Her social media, however, gave her the platform to show how many training sessions she was doing, to really give her audience a behind-the-scenes look into what goes into all the work that she does, and gave her a platform to express herself and show more of her personality. Here's a great example of a mini bio. I talked about this earlier and what you need to do before reaching out to media. Dr. Robert Huizinga is a renowned celebrity internist, and his mini bio just captures the essence and the highlights of his work. It goes a little into his education, it talks about the books he's written, and some of his appearances. And this little bio just sums it up for media. It's a quick snippet without sending a long CV or a long bio for them to read. Okay, so now the part you've all been waiting for. You've built your tools, you've got everything in place. Now how do you get the media attention? Well, first things first, know your audience. I talked about this a little bit earlier. You've got two main audiences when it comes to PR. You've got your consumer, that is your demographic. Does it skew a little older? Are you trying to reach millennials that are a little younger? So just know your audience and who you're trying to reach. And then from there, you kind of look at what do they read? What do they watch? Where are they? And how do you reach them? And once you know what media outlets they watch or read or are scrolling through for their information, you find those editors. And the second is knowing your media. At Aesthetic Next, your media is going to be beauty editors. You don't want beauty directors because they're at the top, but beauty editors are often the ones designating stories and the ones responsible for story ideas that go into the magazine. So you'll search online for their contact information. When you're ready to put your pitch together, there are a few key questions you want to ask yourself. What does your audience want to know? What is what you have to say different than your colleagues? And finally, what questions do you get asked the most in your practice? Those questions are likely the same questions that readers have and the types of stories media is looking to do. But I often ask myself, why should anyone care? So what is it that makes you stand out? Why you? And remember, keep it short and sweet. Editors get thousands of emails a day. So you want to be able to capture the essence of what it is that you have to offer in a concise form so that they know why they should reach out to you and quote you quickly. So congratulations, you've piqued the interest of an editor. Now what? First things first, be responsive. Editors work on a really tight deadline, and they're juggling a lot of stories at once and a lot of experts for different stories. Respond quickly to their email. Ask what the deadline is. Know what time frame you have to work in. One of the reasons our clients are successful is because we ensure that we get back to media with everything that they need in an extremely timely manner. So if you need to, put a team in place, an assistant, an office manager, a nurse practitioner, or somebody in your office who can work with you on answering these questions or at least getting a draft going, checking in on when the emails come in and correspondence with media is happening promptly. I can't stress this enough. Don't just answer the media's questions with 1 or 2 sentences and get to the point. Add some context, add some takeaways for their readers. What do they really need to know? As though you were taking your time sitting down with a patient and giving them an insider's look into what they need to know. This is how you begin to position yourself as an expert. Not everything you say is going to be used by the writer in the final article, but providing them with content, good content, allows them to use what you have to say in multiple places, rather than finding one quote that they can pull into their article. And when they know that you're going to be responsive and elaborate, they are likely to ask you again for your opinion on another article that they're looking for. And once you've built this relationship, it becomes a little less about you going to them with story ideas, your pitch, and more about them seeing you as an expert and saying, hey, now I'm working on this story. Can you comment on it? And don't worry about the time you spent to answer those questions in depth. Even though not all of it will be used, it's not all lost. You can take that content and recycle it into your social media and provide value to your audience in pieces. If you've captured the attention of a television producer, first is wear solid colors, because you don't want patterned prints to distract from what you have to say as an expert. The second is learn how to speak in sound bites. Sound bites are prized by producers. A sound bite is a short little snippet, sweet and simple again, that perfectly explains what it is that you're trying to get across. If you'll be speaking about a device or product, definitely be sure to reach out to the company, because more often than not, they have an entire PR team that they could potentially throw behind you and help get you in front of media, but also because they've developed some key message points and you'll want to stay on message when talking about them. You've been mentioned in the media, so what's next? Once your article is published or your television segment airs, be gracious. Reach back out to that producer or to that editor or writer and say thank you. Let them know that you noticed it and you really appreciate the time they took to include you. That's another step in building your relationship with media. Not everyone does that, so they'll really appreciate it when you do. Next, maximize that exposure. Tell everyone. A few things you can do is share it on social media, let your patients know in your monthly newsletter, upload it to your website, and if it was a television appearance, upload it to YouTube, upload it to your website or a Vimeo account, and make sure that you add the new mention in the mini bio you already created. And once you get a few articles, you'll start to build that section of the mini bios. So when future media see your mini bio, they will see that you've had multiple media mentions. Finally, keep it up. Continue to think of unique story ideas that make you stand out and make you unique to media. I hope you found this guide helpful in stepping into the spotlight, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of Aesthetic Next.
Thanks, guys. All right, so that was a wonderful presentation from Candis, and she's unable to be with us this afternoon, but good news is that her information is built into the app as well. So if you guys have the Aesthetic Next app, you can find her contact information there to send her an email if you have any follow-up questions at all. She'd definitely be happy to help. And if anyone has any last-minute questions, I can try my best to answer them. But if not, feel free to email Candis and she'll be able to help you. I I hope you guys all have a great day. We'll see you soon.